What's up, everybody? Chris from Legendary Mana. And it's time now for Standard Deck Tech. This is our first one. Hope you like it. We're going to cover Blue-Black Zombie Tides. You may not have heard of it before. You might have. Who knows? But you will after this video. Before we get into the cards in this deck, I want a disclaimer that this is not a budget deck. So strap yourselves down and let's raise the undead. We're going to start off with 4 Cryptbreakers and 2 Diregraf Colossus. Cryptbreaker allows you to put zombies in your graveyard. Diregraf Colossus serves 2 ways. You get a +1/+1 counter for each zombie in your graveyard, and you get a 2/2 zombie token when you cast a zombie spell. Great synergy. So now we're going to get to the fun part. And this is where the deck starts to shape itself. We're going to use 3 Prized Amalgam and 2 Gisa and Geralf. Prized Amalgam comes back from your graveyard when you cast a creature from your graveyard to the battlefield, and Gisa allows you to cast creatures from your graveyard, which means if you cast a Cryptbreaker, you bring back a Prized Amalgam. Sweet value. Next, Liliana, the Last Hope. While using your zombies to protect her, the idea is to ultimate her as quickly as you can. And then we use 4 Relentless Dead for both junk blocking and bringing back zombies from the graveyard. Again, this will also trigger your prize algorithms. Now we move into the spells. We will use 4 Take Inventories to draw cards, and 2 Contingency Plans to help us on our next 5 card draws. Meanwhile, if you need zombies, you can just throw some of those in the graveyard. Now, I choose to run 2 Disallows and 3 Dispels.
Disallow counters any spell or any non-mana activated ability or triggered ability, and Dispel allows us to get rid of any counters or burn spells that would get rid of any of our creatures. Now we can't have black without running any removals, so we're going to run 2 Murders and 4 Fatal Pushes. These should take care of just about any creature in the meta. As we discussed with the counters, you can use any other removal in these slots. You just need to keep in mind to stay on mana curve. The last piece of removal that we're going to use is 2 Ruinous Paths. This will allow you to get rid of any creature or planeswalker. Finally, the star of the deck. Load up your graveyard with instants and sorceries, and bam, put this sucker down, and you got yourself a bunch of zombies on the battlefield. In no time, you'll be running them over. Now the mana base. We got 4 Choked Estuaries, and we have 3 Aether Hubs. And we got 6 islands and 7 swamps. Keeping the mana base simple gives you the consistency that you're looking for when it comes to land pools. Additionally, we'll have Aether Hub, which will allow us to create mana of any color with the energy that we receive. That will be increasingly important when we talk about our sideboard. Now, the strategy I wanted to take on the sideboard is a little offbeat, but stick with me for a minute. So I'm running 2 Archangel Avacyns in the sideboard. And you'd be like, what in the world? I thought this was a blue-black deck. It is, but I really wanted to splash white to throw some people off when it comes to sideboarding. We have 3 Ceremonious Rejections, which can take care of any artifact or spells without color, like spells with Devoid. 2 Negates, which can take care of any non-creature spell, again, artifacts, vehicles, or anything of that nature. And you maybe wonder, well, where's the rest of the white spells? Well, we have 3 Concealed Courtyard, 3 Fragmentize, to again deal with any artifacts or enchantments, and 2 Decommissions. Initially, this was to combat Mardu vehicles, but I've been running across a lot of artifact-based strategies recently, so I sort of built this in to help me against all the artifact strategies, for instance, like improvised decks. Now I want to talk about some strategy tips to go along with this deck. The creature base is pretty simple. We have Relentless Dead and Cryptbreaker. These will serve as your blockers to help set up what you're trying to do. Get zombies in your graveyard and build up your defense for Liliana, the Last Hope. Although not your only win condition when playing this deck, it's very important to be able to get Liliana and her ultimate effect in play. Whether or not Prized Amalgam is in your graveyard or he's on play, he can help reinforce defenses. And with Diregraf Colossus, he can get pretty big really fast. Then it all depends on how you play your strategy in the beginning. So for instance, if you get a lot of zombies in your graveyard, Diregraf Colossus can get pretty big.
Gisa is there to not only provide you with a large blocker, but you can then cast zombie creatures from your graveyard to the battlefield. So if you bring back, say, Relentless Dead or Cryptbreaker, it will then trigger Prized Amalgam to come back to the battlefield. Your standard removal and counterspell package will then allow you to continue to either A, leave your creatures on the battlefield, or you can also use your destruction to destroy your own zombies, which could then get you your revolt triggers, or you can remove creatures that are on the battlefield that threaten your board state. With Take Inventory and Contingency Plan, this will allow you to set up your deck to get the cards that you need to get the win. For instance, in late game situations, I'll play Contingency Plan into a Take Inventory to set up for Rise from the Tides. What this will do is, in late game, you can play this card and it will give you a bunch of zombies based on the instants and sorceries in your graveyard. Now think about this. If you have Liliana Ultimate, at the beginning of your end step, it'll double the zombies. And every single turn, you will then double your zombies, and then double your zombies, until you have so many zombies that your opponent won't have many answers to get rid of that many zombies. Unless, of course, they have a Wrath. So now I'm going to give you some tips on how I sideboard for this deck. For artifact strategies, I will take out 3 Dispels, both Murders, 1 Choked Estuary, 1 Swamp, and 1 Island. Additionally, I'll take out both Gisas, because these cards won't be very relevant against artifact strategies. I'll bring in 3 Fragmentize, 2 Decommissions, all 3 Concealed Courtyards, and both Archangel Avacyns. These, I have found, have provided a much higher win condition against those strategies. So you may be asking yourself, well, there's some cards in here that I would use that you're not using, which are Void Shatter, Oath of Jace, Aether Meltdown, and Glimmer of Genius, and all of these cards can find their place within this deck. I personally didn't find them as consistent as I wanted them to be. This last little bit, there's going to be some stats here for you about the mana curve and probabilities, everything that stat nerds like myself really love to look at. Tell us what you think about this deck tech. I'm definitely looking ways to improve this. I'm hoping to continue to build on this for the PTQ that's coming up in my local area. Please subscribe, like the video, and we'll be doing a lot more deck techs. I really enjoyed doing it, and I really hope you like watching. So see you next time.